I have never gone bankrupt, by the way. I have never. But out of hundreds of deals,
but sir,
excuse me,
that's your line, but your companies have gone bankrupt.
Out of what am I?
And breaking news.
Now we begin with the breaking news from Wall Street. Trading has been underway now for just about 30 minutes, and nervous investors, very nervous investors, are weighing in on President Trump's historic new global tariffs. The early assessment, deep.
Donald Trump's latest meltdown had all the drama of a reality show finale, except this time the plot twist was real. Wall Street's stocks plunged in what could only be described as a Donald-sized nosedive. And guess who was first in line to explode?
Concerns. Almost all goods entering the United States will face a new tax of at least 10%, and that means inflation-weary Americans will see even higher prices on virtually everything. And that adds to the deepening concerns among economists that the U.S. and
the market, a creature of chaos, suddenly decided it was time to show Wall Street who's boss. Stocks plummeted like a clumsy debutante at her first ball, and the world collectively shrugged in the midst of it all. Meanwhile, across town, Donald Trump, presumably watching from his gold-plated tower, sat perched like a confused owl trying to make sense of a squirrel crisis. It was happening again. Wall Street was tanking, and Trump was clutching his phone like it was his last lifeline, ready to unleash his version of leadership.
Today was the first day of trading on Wall Street since Trump slathered our economy in honey and staked it down next to a fire ant hill. And the Dow Jones nosedived 1,700 points, joining the S&P and NASDAQ in having their biggest drop since 2020. So, worst day for our economy since COVID. Just a little reminder, this time, he's the disease.
The immediate fallout was, as expected, a public spectacle. The market was in free fall. And who did Trump blame first? If you guessed everyone else, congratulations. A flurry of tweets erupted, each more predictable than the last. There were the usual suspects, corrupt politicians, the deep state, and of course the fake media. Trump, ever the master of deflection, did what he did best, pointing fingers and casting shadows, all while his financial empire, much like a poorly managed skyscraper, seemed to creak under the weight of its own delusions.
Wolf, markets are tumbling as investors are really digesting worse than expected tariffs. You have the Dow, the NASDAQ, and the S&P all down below, as you can see there, 3%. Retail stocks in particular really selling off. Nike, Adidas, Lululemon, these are companies that source a lot of their goods from abroad, countries that are now under higher tariffs. And just look at the countries that were hit in yesterday's announcement. You have the European Union, 20% tariff. You have Japan, 24%, China, 34%, and Vietnam, 46%. Key trading partners to the U.S. Investors are worried what this means for businesses, and then, of course, those businesses.
But here's where the irony gets good. This is the same man who once paraded around like the king of capitalism, boasting about his unparalleled business genius and how he could turn anything, yes, anything, into gold. Fast forward to now, the same man now floundering like a fish out of water, watching his stock portfolio crash as if he were on some bizarre reality show where failure is the grand prize. It's almost poetic, really. Trump, who once claimed to have the Midas touch, now looks like a jester fumbling with a crown that no longer fits.